What is up, everyone? It's your girl JJBEATS here. I'm here with none other than the voice actor for Damien from Artist Choice. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Good evening. I am Lucifer Whispers. I am a voice actor in my spare time. I also do a bit of streaming every once in a while for a bit of fun and do a bit of 3D. And I've applied to a great many little projects for fun. It was quite enjoyable to take part of this one. I have to say, well, out of the many amateur projects that I took part of, it's nice to actually have something to show for it. As so, I definitely had a positive image of just this whole thing.
I appreciate that right off the bat. It's so crazy to hear your voice. I don't know why. Every time I hear it, though, it shocks me. Maybe it's just. I think it's just not what I'm used to hearing over here. Because usually I'm used to the Latin accent, even though I'm in America, but because of like where I'm from in my culture. So then whenever I hear like a different type of accent, it always throws me off. I'm like, oh wow, other people exist.
Yes, it's like a whole personality. Words.
Exactly. I know when people were playing the game, people were like, huh, that doesn't sound like a college student. I was just like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but it was just like the reaction right off the bat when they heard your voice was always different. It's like, huh.
Yeah, no, it's always whenever I listen to my own voice. I know this goes for every single voice actor. You always get the impression of, man, like something could have changed. I could have done something different. I like in my case, I hope that people appreciated the one like tonality that we went with. I know that I was holding back a little bit on the more playfulness, like kind of like you might be noticing right now. I tend to be very fluent with my tones, and we kind of landed on that that wasn't exactly the idea for the character. More on that later with the questions, I suppose. But heck, there's many directions we could have gone with Damien, and it was nice to kind of flesh that out.
Yeah, speaking of that, I forgot I had the character trailers. Where is Damien? Wait, why is it invisible? Wow. Wow. Well, no, those were the other ones. Well, I get that sorted out. What was your impression of the character, Damien?
So it's always difficult to like know the character, even early on, like when you just look at the first draft, so the sketch, and then you like throw in a couple like examples of like, oh, does this sound okay? Like feeling out the personality is a bit tough. I remember quite vividly we were talking about like something between James Bond and like Bruce Wayne, and that made me later think of like maybe like Damien, uh, Damien Wayne. I don't know. So to kind of convey not just the personality, but like with the backstory context added as well. I mean, this project had quite a lot of ambitions as far as backstory and storytelling was concerned, so that kind of made it more complicated to nail down the personality instead of like a shallow stereotypical representation of some sort. So part of me wonders like, would it have been befitting to make him like a bit more playful? Maybe not. Um, but actually, to make the character more like softer, more like college student or like younger or whatever, that's kind of one of the things I'm practicing a little bit now. So I just consider all of this to be useful experience by this point.
Oh yeah, trust me. Me and the programmer feel the same way. We're like, dang, we should not have done this in 3 months because, um, you know, if we
goalpost just kept moving.
it really did. Well, no, because when he said voice acting, he originally thought it was just gonna be for Arya. I was just like, it's for Arya. I was just like, wait, we're not doing all the characters. And so then I'm here like thinking, wait, how are we gonna have just Arya be voice acting and no one else? So then I got everyone the voice actor. I reached out, I was like, you sound like a Damien. And you're like, I'll be Damien. I was like, I can't believe that worked. So
like, oh, we got a Damien. You want to be Damien? Like, oh, cool, we have Damien. Like, and I'll be honest, like, it was only very recently I noticed that you guys had added even more characters. I mean, I heard about, oh, cool, it's gonna be like more voicing and stuff, but I was kind of saving on playing the game myself to see what more you guys have added and to like see the final product.
Yeah.
But it seems like you guys just kept taking off. Not just like side characters, but important characters with voice acting and everything.
Yeah, and no, and the program was like, I don't think we did a good job. I'm like, bro, on a volunteer project, we put so many hours of work and have like so many characters slashed out. I'm like, yeah, it's not a AAA budget type of game, but I was like, we did a lot for this game. I was just like, with all the stuff we had to go through too, like, I was just like, I was just glad that I was able to get to show off everyone's like contributions. Like, I was just like, I can't not have the voice actors voice act. I cannot have the artists not show off their art. I was like, let me do everything as long as everyone's doing their part. So which is crazy because I realized like when it comes to jams, like people only do it for the purpose of a demo. I was just like, wait, people don't do it for the full game. And so like I'm here like, we're not supposed to get a visual novel done in 3 months.
I see a fair bit of like different stuff. I don't think it was this one. I tried a different visual novel as well, but there was like just one person aside from me and another voice actor who just like made the whole game, and it was janky and it was like messy mishmash and everything. But heck, you just, in order to reach the point of like, say, doing this as a career, there's a lot of steps you need to climb. And I recently looked at Avicii on his journey to becoming like the DJ of the world, and what I noticed them saying was like, yeah, we didn't spend much time on each step, but we stepped on each single step, from like small arenas, bigger arenas, like studios, bigger studios, and so on and so on, just gradually climbing. So it's kind of good to not spend too much time on this step, although definitely it's good, this whole project, that it has been done so that next step is higher up.
Yeah, I definitely want to work on other projects that either could be like a standalone game, or like add to the lore, because we couldn't add it in this game or else it wouldn't make sense. And so we're always talking about that, me and the program, and see like, is it worth doing? Because there's always well, first of all, this is like a volunteer project, so it's a free game. It's not like we profit. We actually lost money because we had to do the Android. We were trying to do the Android version, and with the Android version, you had to pay for the account. And then we had to pay for testers, because the first time they tried to ban the account because they're like, oh, this doesn't work. And we're like, BS, it doesn't work. We spent months trying to make this work. So like, yeah. So then people keep asking for a Steam version. I was just like, bro, we ain't got the bread to be making a Steam version. So I was just like, maybe in the future. But I was just like, I don't know if I want to do for this one. Maybe upgrade graphics or like make enhancements before I even think about that. But
Yeah.
I was just like, the only problem was like the voice acting itself took forever to put in, and I just think about if we did the same thing, like just the same story, same voices, change like everything else, the amount of time the voices would take if it was just like the programmer would be like a year in itself, because he was like, I could get this done in 5 weeks, and it took him 5 weeks just to do the Damien route. He's like, I got tired. So
Yeah, like one thing that we kind of did at what I did at a different project was from the start. It was like, okay, so everybody, we need to make the voices hit like a certain pitch, and then we need to stay in that tonality. And I was like, oh, maybe we should have done that with this other ARIA project I'm part of. We're just like recording, making sure that the recordings are good, and then we're sending it in. We didn't consider like the volume. So,
yeah, we definitely learned from that. We're like, I'm playing through the game. I was like, dang, why is everyone a different tone? But at least the voices are there. How did you prepare for the role, or did you do any specific research for the character?
so when I want to convey personalities, usually I try to find something that is similar to it. If I'm trying to do like an accent, let's say a Italian accent, then I like to pull up, for example, Formula One and watching Italian drivers, and then they say something, I say something, and then I kind of get into the mental space so that it's like a little warm up, and then it's like putting on the mask. Now for Damien, it's very difficult when you're part of creating a character, and it does suffer a little bit if people don't have like a very specific image in mind. And I kind of felt like we were still took a while for us while we were making the character, a little bit of revisions and whatnot. First it was like, oh, do I make it more flirtatious, more like stoic, bouncy or light-hearted? Do I go more gravelly, more deeper? Or do I like soften them up a little bit? Like, we did a lot of different things, and even now I'm not even sure if there could have been ways we could have improved upon it. But it was just a whole lot of trial and error, really.
Yeah, with that, it was mostly because I kept trying to tell the writers this is how we want Damien to be, or this is how we want the character to be, and they kept straying off. So that's something I had learned myself, is that just because you say something doesn't mean it's gonna get done the specific way you want it. So it was just like, oh, this isn't what I was thinking of. Because I know one of the things I plan on talking to the voice actor for Arya is that initially Arya is going to be a sociopath, psychopath type of character. So like the same thing kind of happened with like the other characters. Either like they became completely different from what I imagined. Like as you can see from the footage behind, like Damien became more casual instead of like not casual, more refined than casual. Because in like the first version of him, he was more casual. He had like a sports jacket, but now he had like more of a sweater vest. So that was part of like my personal specific questions. Do you prefer his like sporty jacket, like casual look, or do you prefer more his refined look?
Like I feel he's creeping up towards. He's this far away from a turtleneck at this point. It's like I kind of like the way that he looks now. I particularly enjoy like the color use. Very refined, very snazzy. He probably will not change that color at all for the next 10 years. So I feel like it worked and it fit, and like my partner was saying that they took one glance at the character. I was like, oh, I've seen this guy in Ultimate games. And then I looked at the script and I was like, oh no, this is not what my partner was mentioning that this character type would be. So, I mean, one of the positive things was that there's all these strange ideas of how the character is coming to be, and it becomes kind of like a mishmash of personalities and ideas, and of course, your vision meshed together with everybody else's vision. I kind of wonder if this is partially because we're all amateurs, if this is less of a problem for professionals, because professionals are both better at conveying and understanding the conveyance and staying true to the vision.
Well, I was more trying to subvert the expectation. So like, I was purposely trying. Yeah, so I was purposely trying to make him look like an F-boy, and then he's just like, "Oh no, I'm just damaged." Like, I don't know if you ever got to play through his route fully, but it's just kind of like.
Well, I know everything he's gonna say, and I can say that much. Like, the fact that he also wasn't just a complete Sasuke Uchiha lended itself positively. The fact that he was capable of like displaying a bit of love. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil too much for people who want to play. I think sure, then they definitely should try to romance Damon. I'm just saying. I was listening at the trailers and it was like, God damn it! The other guy's voice sounds so nice. Son of a bitch! This gonna like, because I remember early on I was kind of like, for fun's sake, just saying like, oh, my end goal will be that they all want to try and romance Damien, but now I'm not even sure if that's a losing battle, maybe.
Oh goodness. Now, speaking of the other one, Ethan is one that people always be like, I don't know if I should pick Damien or Ethan. So, do you really do you think Ethan is in terms of story, it's just like as much like you're like, oh, like is Damien really the best, or is like Ethan really up there at top? It's like, I don't know if I'm really male lead. Maybe I'm second male lead. And he just came in last second.
I mean, in his story, I don't have like the advantage of having voice acted all of his dialogue, so I have not thoroughly followed his story, and I have stayed away a little bit from playing the game till like a late notice. I'm also like I have been diagnosed with ADHD, so I'm like, either I do it or I don't do it. So it's very difficult for me to like connect and disconnect to the project. For me, it was more like, okay, I'm gonna connect now. I'm gonna have one day where I record everything, and then I just don't touch it for like 2 or 3 weeks at the very least. It's like, that's kind of my no, I wouldn't say work ethic, but how I've been functioning the best for a while. I mean, this project is kind of like no difference. So the trailer was good, and the my co-voice actor was killing it. I can say that much. When I'm playing it myself, I don't even know which one I'm gonna like romance, because if I romance Ethan, at the very least I'll get to see that whole avenue of storytelling that I'm a lot more unfamiliar with. Man, it's very different to like think of playing an Ultimate game when you're one of the voice actors. Like, do I romance myself? This raises a lot of questions, and I'm not sure if I want the answers to it. If I romance the other guy, well, I kind of got familiar with the other voice actor. That also raises some questions. So I tried not to think too hard on it.
What about if your partner romances you and you romance the other one?
Yeah, that's a hilarious way of doing it. Well, I do know that my partner will like exclusively do everything that has to do with my character, and just like seeking out everything, and then giving like their opinion on the story of the game as a whole and stuff like that, because they love reading books, and they are quite good on giving like constructive criticism on this kind of stuff. So it's both for the sake of my own voice acting, but also like how the writing was, and if the writing and voice acting paired well, and so on. There's so many ways that one can talk about it. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that I'm gonna be like doing the Ethan route. I'm curious.
Dang, Ethan's probably gonna steal the show, even though he's second lead. weird. Because
There's the bias behind the scenes. This is a rigged election.
and I was just like, yo, I wish we could expand the game and you could rank every other route, because Ethan had the longest and then Michelangelo had the shortest, and we're like, rip Michelangelo, because his story is mostly about other people.
Because there's so many things people who decide to give the different roles and all that kind of stuff, you really are just rolling the dice. So I guess in terms of these kind of stuff, scoping question mark has been the kind of the big thing. It usually should be the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, yeah, basically.